Colonel Allen West said, "The truth can't be hate speech." Now, the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, the OIC, I was reading a report that they put out. It was the 6th annual report dated April 2014, presented to the 41st Council of Foreign Ministers. This is given to people all over the world. The OIC is actually an organization of, I believe it's 57 Muslim countries. They have defined, through 2 conferences on Islamophobia, they have defined their targets. They're going to focus on cartoonists, political officials, writers, and governments. They want to eradicate all manifestations of Islamophobia. That means any anti-Islam or anti-Muslim thought or activity. Thoughts included. We're not just limiting Islamophobia to acts of violence or bigotry or hatred or discrimination. Now it's this radio show. Because I'm more than thinking it, I'm saying it. Anything that presents Islam or Muslims in an unfavorable light is declared Islamophobia. That's anything whatsoever that portrays Muslims or Islams in a bad light. That means including factual reports that are undisputed. I usually start this show off reading through a list of Islamic attacks over the previous week. All the Muslim beheadings, the suicide bombers, all the killings done in the name of Allah in the past 7 days. This is now being declared Islamophobic. Factual, yes. Undisputed. The veracity of these numbers is undisputed. But it paints Islam in an unfavorable light. So they are calling it Islamophobia. No, it's not a phobia. I fear allowing savages to run rampant in our country. And it's a very valid fear. Because we've seen what happens. We've seen what they do. A Muslim officer in the army yells Allahu Akbar and kills 37 people in Fort Hood. Being afraid of these savages is not a phobia because it's not irrational. They, however, seem to be Christian phobia because when they see Christians, they kill them. Why would you kill the Christians if you weren't afraid of the Christians? The 9/11 Commission report came out about a year, maybe a year and a half after the towers went down in New York City. The word Islam was mentioned 322 times. The word Muslim 145 times. The word jihad 126 times. And yet, after Obama took office, the FBI's counterterrorism lexicon came out. And these 3 words were not mentioned a single time. It was 0 and 0 and 0. A year later, the 2009 Central Intelligence Agency's National Intelligence Strategy came out. Islam was mentioned 0 times. Muslims 0. Jihad 0. 2011, a report came out, Protecting the Force, Lessons Learned from Fort Hood. And again, these 3 words aren't present. How did this happen? I'll tell you how it happened. Obama opened the doors and let the Muslim Brotherhood and their front groups get into his administration. He's got 7 savages. 7 of these people working in his administration, advising him, telling him, having these words in government documents puts Islam in a bad light. Mr. President, you can't insult Islam like this. So the words are all scrubbed. The Quran, verse 812 and 860, the Quran uses the word terror. I will strike terror into the hearts of my enemies. The doctrine can say it. Islamic law can say it. But the government can't say it. The people of the Republic can't say it. Because Obama has let the wolf in to guard the hen house. My friends, stay with us. We got a lot more coming up on the other side of the hour. We'll be right back.
Real talk for real people, right here in the Inland Empire. We are 1050 AM KCAA.
Tom O'Halloran, holding the line against tyranny from Washington, D.C.
I am America, one voice, united we stand. I am America, one hope to heal our land. There is still work that must be done. I will not rest until we've won. I am America.
Welcome back. This is Jihad-On-America. I'm your host, Tom O'Halloran. We're talking tonight about Islamophobia and how it's going to affect our First Amendment rights. Freedom of speech has been under attack all over the world in recent years. Geert Wilder, a former member of parliament in Denmark, he spoke up about Islam, how it was going to ruin their nation, which it has. He was summarily arrested and tried, and he appealed and lost, and he appealed again, and he beat the conviction, but he lost his seat in the parliament. He's become ostracized in society because there is a fatwa out on his head for speaking the truth. You say these people are dangerous, they're going to ruin our society, and they come at you with everything they've got, and they destroy you, thereby proving your point. But at what cost? At the cost of your freedom. There was a reporter in Canada a couple of years ago that reported on a speech by an imam, wherein the imam talked about fighting a jihad, about killing the non-believer. It wasn't the reporter that was saying they want to kill us. The reporter was talking about the imam that said he wants to kill us. But he wrote it in an article in Canada, and he was sued for defamation. He was sued in 3 different precincts: British Columbia, in Montreal, and at the federal level in the Canadian Human Rights Council, fighting 3 lawsuits all at the same time. Again, his life was basically ruined because he could no longer write. He was broke from fighting the lawsuits. In France, a couple ran a hotel. They booked everybody into the hotel, and there was a Muslim convert, a Caucasian, staying at the hotel, and one day they were sitting down just having a friendly conversation with this Muslim, asking her why she converted to Islam. And they had a casual conversation, a friendly conversation. And they got up and went about their day, and the guest got up and went about her day. And later in the day, the police officers came by and they arrested the couple. And again, they fought. They ended up closing their hotel, out of business, because they needed they sold their hotel because they needed money for the lawyers to fight these charges. They lost everything. Oh, they won the case. You see, they're not so much concerned about sending us to jail. They use the charges to silence us. In Canada, in France, in Spain, in the UK, in Denmark, it happens everywhere. You say something disparaging about Islam, about Muhammad, about Sharia, that paints Islam in a bad light, factual that your words may be, but they come at you with oil money, and they smirk because you buy gas for your car. They're using your money to destroy you. They're using your money to come at you. Now, the OIC is working towards a global blasphemy law. They want to codify it into international law. Bear in mind, there are 57 Muslim countries in the OIC. So this is naturally something that they would want to do. They're taking it to the Human Rights Council in Geneva and in the UN. Now, that's bad enough. That's a bunch of Muslims doing this, right? Well, what damage could that possibly be? But in 2009, Obama and Hillary Clinton sponsored OIC Resolution 1618 to, quote, combat intolerance. It is an anti-blasphemy law. Remember Obama's Cairo speech in 2008? When times turn ugly, I will stand with my Muslim brothers. And then after our ambassador and 3 other officials get slaughtered in Benghazi, and the State Department and Obama blame it on a video about Islam, Obama went on TV and he said, the future cannot belong to those who slander Islam.